morning, everyone. My name is Jane Brasher, sports reporter for Rappler.com. Welcome to Rappler Talk. Today, I will be speaking with a seven-time PBA champion coach. You probably recognize him most as one of the fiercest and most expressive coaches on the sidelines of the PBA. He was coach for the Reina Shine Elastic Painters for 5 years before moving on to take on this new challenge as coach of the NLEX Road Warriors this season. Everyone, please welcome Coach Yeng Guiao. Hi, Coach. Good morning.
Hello, Jane, and hello to all your viewers and followers.
How are you today?
I'm okay.
Okay, so I'll start with NLEX in this PBA Commissioner's Cup.
Yeah.
Just for the benefit of everyone else who may not memorize or may not be familiar, you guys finished 2-9. So
Yes.
that was a 9-game losing streak before winning back-to-back. But at some point, it was a 13-game losing streak dating back to January. So my two-part question is this. Can you tell me exactly what was making it difficult for NLEX to win during that losing streak, and then what changed in the past week that allowed you to salvage those 2 wins?
Well, it's really very difficult to just pinpoint to one aspect of our game that was causing our losing streak. It's a lot of factors. Mainly, it's probably because that it's a new system. I'm a new coach with this team.
Yeah.
We have a very young team actually. If you take away Asi Taulava and Enrico Villanueva, I think our average would really be one of the youngest in the whole league. So it's a very young team. We're unfamiliar with pressure situations. The team has been struggling even before I came in. And actually, first time I came in, I thought this team would be good. We probably have enough talent to win some games.
Yeah.
But after a while, you kind of find out that during the clutch moments, during the pressure moments, you're still going to need some leadership. You're still going to need some maturity. So all of those things combined. It's a lack of maturity for the team. Probably it's a familiarization process with the system. It's a familiarization process with the personalities, the new personalities that have come in. And also it's a struggle just getting the right mix together. It's a chemistry problem, actually. So what we tried to do was we tried to change up that chemistry.
Yeah.
We had to sacrifice. It was really a very difficult decision, letting go of 5 of the most promising players probably and the people whom we really relied on. But I always say this, in order to get value, you must give up value also. And we took the risk. We will be responsible for all the decisions and all the consequences of our decisions. So fortunately, the last 3 games, I will include the San Miguel game, which we lost. But I felt that we had a good second half. We finished the game well. It was a solid end game. And then we won our last 2 games. Yeah. So the consolation is there's some good signs. And we felt that we had made some good decisions with the trades.
Where's the team like? What is the atmosphere within the team right now, considering those, especially those last 2 wins? Like against Alaska, you guys you guys came back from a 20-point lead, I think.
Something like that.
Came back from a 20-point deficit, and then against Phoenix, you had a 20-something point lead, blew it, but still hung on in the end.
Yes.
So what's the team like after that?
Well, before that, of course, if you're on a losing streak, it's always gloomy and it's not a nice atmosphere.
Yeah.
But despite that, I felt that we had some positive things going on in terms of the players just not giving up. The players themselves just motivating each other. And I think the other thing also is we had to accept the fact that it was going to be a process and it was going to be a painful learning process, and it's part of the maturity actually. So I think looking at the good side, you have to go through those things in order to get better. Now, we don't want to be in that situation for a long time. No. We know it's a process, but we don't want it to be a really long process. We're impatient right now. No, that's the reason also why we took the risk with the blockbuster trades that we made, no, because it's not really a regular thing for one team to trade 5 players, no? And we did that. No? So also one reason that there's this positive atmosphere now is because I think we're getting to the chemistry a little bit more. We're getting the chemistry that is a little bit more to our liking. I define chemistry as the right combination of talents and the right combination of personalities. Sometimes there's some personalities that will not fit the team, and some talents that may be good for other teams but not good for you. So you just keep looking for that combination. And with the trades that we made, I felt that we went towards that direction a little bit more. So, yun, we closed this conference on a high note, on a positive note. We're hoping to bring that confidence and bring that momentum into the next conference. We're not going to take a long vacation. Actually, June 7, we'll be starting to practice again, and we're hoping that our import comes in on or before that. So we'll take a very short rest period and then start working again. And we're excited to do that because we felt that we have something new we can offer our fans in the next conference.
So you don't think that it will be probably a challenge for you to kind of drill to your drill into your players that you are not this 2-9 team. Actually, 2-9 since 2-9 also in the Philippine Cup, right? So you don't see that problem that you have to drill into them. That's not their
I don't
identity.
think that record will define us. And the players know that. I think the fans know that also. We're not that kind of a team. But again, you have to prove that every night. You have to prove that every game. And we're not done yet, actually. We're not done yet with the tweaking of the team. Although I don't think we'll make another 4-man or 5-man trade, but maybe we'll make 1 or 2 more.
Really?
And then after that, we'll see if I like to keep a team together for a long time. That's what I did with Rain or Shine. But before you can keep a team for a long time, it must be the right team to keep. So as long as you can identify the players, their roles, and these players can adapt into a system, and you feel that that is the team, then you have to keep that, invest time in it, invest effort in it, make sure that they know the system really well, instinctively, and then the bond happens. The bond happens, and then you look for you look out for each other's back, and you try to anticipate what the other person is thinking, and then that's when chemistry happens.
Let's touch on a bit on the trade that you mentioned. Is this something that you plan to do before the Governor's Cup or early in the Governor's Cup?
We plan to do it actually a little earlier than when it happened. We had some problems closing deals. We had some problems making it attractive to the other teams that we were talking to. Especially when you're losing, your players are going to lose value. So the reason we had to give up our most valuable players is because you want to make it more attractive to the other teams. No? So we had planned that a little earlier, but the execution came later because the deals were a little hard to come by. And you had to keep putting in sweeteners so that it becomes an attractive proposition for the other teams. So, but on the other hand, I was also hoping that with the delays, that maybe something is going to click and we will not need to trade these players anymore. No? But that actually didn't happen. So we had to push through with the deals after that.
In terms of your personnel, coach, what are you looking for right now? Like with the guys that you have right now, is there a specific piece that you?
Yes, I think with we got Rabah Al Husseini. We got JR now.
Yeah.
Of course, we had to give up Bradwin. But I think Asi is fitting into the role, to his new role, really well.
Yeah.
It's a different role from when he was with Coach Boyat before. But we have 3 solid bigs now. No? JR Kinyahan, Rabah Al Husseini, and then we have Asi there to back him up. Rico Villanueva is recovering from an injury. And then we're really giving Raul Soyud some playing time, some confidence, and he's the future for our bigs. So I'm pretty happy with my bigs. On the guard side, Alex Malyari is a really good acquisition. Wami Chongson is playing well and making contributions. No? Kevin Alas is playing well. He's maturing really well. No? I just need him to develop a little bit more of his outside shot.
Yeah.
But otherwise, I don't have any complaints. Then the rest of the other guys, no, si Jansen Rios is coming off the bench and making contributions. Even Eman Monfort, no, the last few games he was really working both ends. No, he was making shots and at the same time was providing us a lot of defensive energy. So, Larry is still injured, but he's going to fit really well into the slot that Garbo Lanete left. He's a reliable outside shooter. He's got the experience. He's got the leadership. And he's played for me before. No? So he knows exactly what I expect out of him. So we've got that maturity and leadership we're looking for in JR, in Alex Malyari, and then in Larry Fornacier. So I'm hoping that would be a good combination for the team in general.
I'll focus a bit on Asi just because we have a question from social media. How about Asi Taulapa?
Okay. Asi, to his credit, was able to just accept his new role. He used to get a lot of the touches at the post. No? He used to play a lot more minutes. No? He used to be our finisher in the end game. But I guess at 43 years old, I think he's the oldest player in the league right now. He knows also that that role is going to have to be diminished for the others to be able to blossom, and for the team to be able to blossom as well. So he's accepted a role as a leader, but at the same time with diminished playing time, but it does not mean that his responsibilities are going to be less. So he's also a playing assistant coach. So that means he's not just responsible about how he plays, he's also responsible how his teammates play. So he's settling down to that new role. And one thing is, if you can accept it, then it becomes easier to implement and execute.
Yeah.
If you're resisting it, then it becomes more difficult. No? The nice thing about us is he's accepted that role right now.
If and when he retires, would you take him in as an actual assistant coach, part of the coaching staff?
For sure, he's already an assistant coach right now.
As in
That will
officially?
really depend on what his plans and motivations are after that. No? I think he still has 1 year in his contract. So after 1 year, that's the time he really has to make a decision. It's not really my decision,
Yeah.
it's his decision after that.
But officially, he's an assistant coach already?
Yes,
Oh,
yes,
okay, that's
yes.
interesting.
Mm.
All right. How much of a change is it going from a team like Rain or Shine, a contender that you built over the years, which is, or actually
Yeah.
the defending champions right now, to a team like NLEX that you have to build from the ground up, not necessarily sure about their identity yet?
That's where my challenge really is. That's where the attraction of transferring to another team from a team that I really love, from a
Yeah.
team that I really cared for,
Yeah.
from the players to the coaching staff to the owners, we were like family.
Mm-hmm.
But in order to leave and take on another challenge was very difficult. But at the same time, you know it's the right move. You know it's the right direction to go. No? And I'm not really attracted to coaching teams that are already made because I really don't feel my contribution as a coach. I want to contribute to a team that's just trying to build itself up, just trying to get into contention, and then later on maybe a championship. To me, that's where the challenge is. I'm not counting titles. As you mentioned a while ago, I've won seven PBA titles. But the measure of my success, as I see it, is not going to be how many titles I win. It's how I built the teams that are the least talented or less talented and making them contenders and champions. That's how I will measure my success.
I'm going to bring in a question from my mom. She wanted to post this on Facebook, but she was embarrassed. Like, what is the timeline that you see where you think that NLEX would become already that winning team?
You know, if I'm going to go back to my career and find an answer to that question, when I first came in as a neophyte coach, as a rookie coach, that was in 1990. That's a long time ago. 1990. It took us. That's the Swift team, and that was a new franchise. No? So we had to build it from zero, from scratch. It took us 2 years to win a championship. And then I took on another challenge with the Red Bull team. So it took us another 2 years to win a championship. And 2 years is a short time to win a championship. When I went in with Rain or Shine, it took me another 2 years to win a championship. I'm not saying that I can win another championship in 2 years with NLEX, but that would be a good standard to follow. But I'm not guaranteeing anything. Sometimes the magic's gonna be there, sometimes the magic's not gonna be there. But as long as you know you're going the right direction, I think that's a more important thing, that we're able to develop, that we're able to progress, and that you can see in your players and in your team that they're getting the qualities that you need to win a championship or to contend at least for a championship.
It's interesting that you're automatically attracted or naturally attracted to young teams, building teams. I'll mention, let's talk about first about your Import Next conference, the Governor's Cup. Aaron Fuller, he's from USC, University of Southern California. Is that right?
I think he played for 2 teams in college. I'm not really sure which the other team was, but he played for USC, yes.
Okay. What's he like? What are you expecting to get from him?
Uh, Based on the reviews, the videos, the scouting reports, Aaron Fuller is a two-way player. He can play offense, he can play defense. He's a hard worker. He's solidly built. He's very athletic. I was watching his tapes, and he was ambidextrous actually.
Really?
Yeah. At first I didn't know if he was left-handed or right-handed, and then I saw him taking his free throws left-handed. So I thought, oh, he's left-handed.
Oh, okay.
But when he was working the post, he had his left hand jump hook was as good as his right hand jump hook. So that's one thing that impressed me. And then I was told by one of my assistant coaches that at one time, I think his left shoulder got injured, and he was practicing with his right hand, and then he acquired that skill.
Yeah.
So now he's able to use both.
Very resourceful.
So that's interesting. Then he played in Mexico, and he was in Mexico playing for another team against Wayne Chisholm, our present import. And then so I automatically, of course, inquired Wayne. I told Wayne, how's Aaron Fuller? Can he play? And he told me that guy can play. That guy can play. He can play defense. He can play offense. And when that comes from another player, usually some of them will say, "Oh, I'm a lot better than that guy."
Yeah.
But when that guy can play, and he's going to be good for you next conference. So that's another factor that convinced me. Then the other thing is, he's a winner. They won the Mexican League Championship. And then I think he played in New Zealand, and he set the scoring record in New Zealand. So those are some things that are surely going to attract your attention. So we decided to sign him up early, also because we knew that at that time that we were not going to make the playoffs anyway. So it's better to prepare early.
Yeah. How will you be mixing him in with your current big men?
That's another thing we wanted or we liked about him. He can play a 3 or a 4. So if he's playing a 4, that means he's just going to be playing the position that Wayne Chisholm's playing right now. So it's not going to really adversely affect my rotation in terms of my guard rotation. So the import is just going to take the place of Wayne, although of course we have smaller imports now. Wayne is around 6'8". I think this guy is around 6'5".
Yeah.
But he can play the same position. So it's not going to be much of a problem in terms of the rotation.
Yeah. I'll move a bit again toward you as a coach. You're known as the stuff fierce, strict, probably scary coach during games and especially in practices. I've heard a lot of horror stories. Where does that come from?
You know, I'm very nice in practice. I want practice for my players to be really a nice, pleasurable experience. I don't want them waking up in the morning and tell themselves, "Oh no, I'm going to see coach again. I'm going to get blasted again, or I'm going to get yelled at or something." So I'm a lot nicer in practice because I feel that when a player wakes up in the morning, he has to like to practice.
Yeah.
He has to be excited to practice. The games will have their own motivation. So at least in the games you can get angry, you can express your emotions a little bit more, and they are going to be able to still be excited going to the games. But if you do that in practice, sometimes you take away the excitement of going to practice.
They won't be motivated
Yes,
to go, or interested to go.
The game itself is a big motivation that they're willing to subject themselves to your temper, but not in practice and not every day. So, but I still get angry sometimes. I've always also believed that my style is not effective for everyone. Sometimes there are people who will not be effective in a certain style.
Yeah.
And from the very beginning, I have this agreement with my players that if you're not going to be able to play well in our system, all you need to do is tell me early so that we can make arrangements for you to go to another team and we can have somebody of your level of talent to be traded to our team. You know? So from the very beginning, the players know that. And if they decide to stay with me, that means they're willing to take on that challenge. And if they decide to say, Coach, I'm not going to be effective with you, and I'll probably be better off in the system, then we try to look for compromises. No? But there's been very few who have expressed that.
Yeah.
A lot of them said, Coach, I want to stay with this, I want to stick with this. I know it's difficult at the start, but I know it's a challenge and I can make it. A lot of them tell me that.
Yeah.
But I also realize that a lot of them will tell you that, or some of them will tell you that just to prove that they're fighters, that's just to prove that it's in their character. But at a certain point you realize that he just needs to be with another team.
Okay. How has NLEX responded to that style of coaching? Have they adjusted already?
They're very supportive. They've given me all I needed, all the support. They've given me all the authority. I think it's the first time that I've been the head coach and general manager at the same time. No? But I still am a very consultative person. I want people's opinion.
Yeah.
I try to bring together and consolidate people's ideas as long as there's time to do that. Of course, in a game where you have to make split-second decisions, I make those decisions and be responsible for it. But in a situation where you can gather opinion, in a situation where you can talk to other people and digest their wisdom, I do that. I do that. And with the NLEX management, they know their basketball, and they also know their managers, and they know basketball, they know people.
Yeah.
So it's really a very important input that goes into a lot of the decision making that we've done.
I'll go back again a bit to Rain or Shine. They gained notoriety as this brute team. They're very
Yes.
physical, very
Yes.
aggressive. Is that something that you're trying to do as well too with NLEX?
It's really a byproduct of the. It's a byproduct of the culture and the philosophy that we try to bring into a team. One thing I demand from my players is physical and mental toughness.
Yeah.
Because there's no way you're going to be competing at a championship level if you're not physically ready for the physical toll of the game, and most especially if you're mentally weak and you're not up to the challenge and you have a small heart, people will find out. And the first person who's probably going to find out is me. So I keep telling them, if you're scared, don't show me you're scared. If you're nervous, just keep it to yourselves, because it's not just something that's going to limit your abilities, it's something that's going to be felt by your teammates, and it's contagious. Fear is contagious.
Yeah.
Lack of self-confidence is contagious. So I make sure that they know that. It's part of our culture. And what happens is when they play tough, people think that they're dirty. But it's just a consequence of the culture and the system that we try to employ for the whole team.
It's mental toughness.
Yes.
You mentioned earlier the Swift teams, the Red Bull, Rain or Shine. A lot of those teams similar in terms of you building them from the ground up. What has been the biggest challenge you've encountered doing that? Was there a recurring theme?
Um, there's not really a challenge that you feel is going to be insurmountable. Uh, the challenge is sometimes you just have to convince people that they have to hold on, no? Because it takes time, and you have to go through a lot of trials. Sometimes it's unpleasant, sometimes it's painful, and I think the thing that people will need to accept is you cannot achieve anything without going through the pains. You have, I mean, you have to pay the price, so to speak. And the price is in terms of the hard work, the pain that you experience, and also the time that you need to invest into it. So to me, that's the challenge, is that just being able to convince people that we just need to hold on because we have to go through this, and you have to keep believing with us. So whether they're management, whether they're players, whether they're coaching staff, they just need to hold on to that mentality. Sometimes at a certain point, some people are going to stop believing. So that becomes difficult. That's really the challenge. You have to keep people believing in your objectives.
How do you do that, Coach? Do you reach out to them personally, one by
Yes,
one?
yes. No, actually, it's become a little easier for me because you have the track record. Because you have I've done it 3 times, so you can actually tell your people that, or your players, I've done this 3 times. I know how to do it.
Yeah.
It's gonna take time. It's gonna take a lot of effort. We're going to fight sometimes. We're going to argue, and we're going to see things in a different way. But there's a saying that if it does not kill you, it's just going to make you stronger.
Yeah.
No? So you just keep surviving one trial after another. At the end of the day, you're going to be a lot stronger than when you started.
Yeah. I'll get a bit personal on this one. I read a story recently from Sports Illustrated about Coach Steve Kerr's values as a leader and as a coach. So I'm going to ask you, what are some of your own leadership values? Maybe keep it to 3, or I don't know.
My players know this from the beginning. We have what we call the 5 principles. No, I'll just
So 5, okay, go.
I'll just go through them very quickly.
Okay.
Number 1 is preparation is the key to success. You want to be successful in anything, it's not going to happen automatically. You have to prepare for it, mentally, physically, skill-wise, because you have to bring together your luck and the preparation for something to happen. Number 2 is, I told you about this, you have to cultivate physical and mental toughness. You just cannot give up. You have to find ways to motivate yourself every day, every morning. When it comes to the game, you must be able to make the right, the pressure shots when it needs to be done. So physical and mental toughness is part of the character of a player or a team that I coach. Number 3 is you are the sum total of all the decisions that you make in life.
Yeah.
It's about decision making. And in a basketball game, you're going to make thousands, hundred thousands of decisions probably, whether you're going to do something or not. And surely you're going to make bad decisions. But what you want to do is make more of the good decisions than the bad decisions. And when you make the bad decisions, you'll be able to make the corrections. So there's nobody who's going to make all the right decisions in a game. But you want to make a little bit more of the good decisions than the opponents. And you want to make a little bit more of the less of the bad decisions than your opponents. So it's about decision making. And I keep telling my guys, the richest people on earth are the guys who made the right decisions. And the failures on earth are the guys who made the wrong decisions. So it's just that. And then the last thing is you have to believe in somebody that's greater than yourself. You have to believe in a God. That all these things are under control. That there is a really good plan that's in store for you. And all you need to do is just go about doing your thing, and that plan is going to take shape.
Yeah.
So you have to believe in something that is greater than yourself, because in the first place, all your talents and all your gifts came from that, and you have to put value and appreciation for that gift.
Do you also apply at least some of these principles or beliefs when it comes to public office? Because for everyone,
Yes, definitely. These are not just basketball principles. They're life principles. And you try to be consistent. Of course, sometimes you'll fail. You try to be consistent in applying them to your career, and also outside of your career. And politics is one of them. So I try to apply them in all the aspects of life that I'm involved in.
This one is a personal curiosity of mine. What do you say to criticism from people who criticize you basically for not calling timeouts during clutch situations? What is the wisdom behind that?
I've evolved into that. I've called a lot of timeouts in my career during the early part of my career, and I've been trying to do the math. Is when you call timeouts, sometimes it's a 50-50 thing. Sometimes you stop the momentum, sometimes you don't.
Yeah.
So sometimes you're able to change the course of the game, sometimes you're not. And it's a 50-50 thing. So if you don't call a timeout, it's still the same thing. It's still the same thing. And to me, I keep telling my players beforehand, don't expect me to call a timeout and bail you out when something wrong is happening, or when the other team is putting on a run. Because it develops a little bit more of their character. If they know what's going on, hey, they're putting on a run. Let's get together and do something about this. Let's not wait for the coach to call a timeout.
Yeah.
So it teaches them a little bit of controlling their own destiny and being able to stay stronger at that point in time when you're looking for help, and sometimes help does not come.
And independence.
Yes. But sometimes I also call the timeout.
How
So
do you
it really
judge?
depends.
Like, how do you judge which point?
With this
should
team
do
that I have, it's a very young team, and we kept losing in the crucial points of the game. There was a time when Coach Jolas told me, Coach, I think you're going to have to call more timeouts with this team because they're not that mature yet, and they haven't gotten that instinct yet. And I tell them, you're probably right. So I'll just call more timeouts until they develop that character where they can get by, and you can skip one or two timeouts, and they'll be able to take care of themselves.
So I'll move in. I'll let you. I'll need you actually to jog your memory a bit for these next few questions. Just one-liners. Most coachable player you've handled.
I've been coaching 25 years, so that's a lot of players. So most coachable.
One that sticks out.
That sticks out. They're usually going to be your point guards, or your leaders. I don't want to call out just one name.
Yeah.
Siguro from From before, it's going to be like Vergel Meneses. No? He was very talented. You just gave him the ball. He read the situation. He knew what to do. No? Presently, with Rain or Shine, Paul Lee and Chris Chu, no? If because they handle the ball a lot, they will make good decisions, no? With the ball. No? Sino pa ba?
NLEX coach.
Sa NLEX, one reason JR is with our team is because he's a thinking player. He's a smart player. No?
Yeah.
So JR is there for that kind of leadership that he can exercise, no, with the younger players. Cyrus Baguio, no, played a lot of years with me, and I felt that he made good decisions also. So, sino pa ba?
Dami ah. A lot of good
Larry,
players.
no?
Oh,
Larry,
yeah.
Larry Fonasher,
Yeah.
no? He's a very smart, very mature player. No? And that's what he's going to bring actually with our team right now. Maybe one or two more siguro. Siguro si Willie Miller.
Willie
no?
Miller.
Willie Miller played for me, and he's another talented player. And then yung mga old-timers, Yoyoy Villamin, no? Yoyoy Villamin is like another version of J.R. Quinyahan.
Really?
Yeah. So he's smart. No? He was he knew what he needed to do. He could read your mind. No? So those are some people I recall. No?
What about most hard-headed player? Pinakamatigas ang ulo.
Pinamatigas ang ulo. No, marami yan. They're also some of the most talented, actually. No? Jimwell Torion. No? Jimwell Torion. But these are the guys who are really, who become close to you because you talk to them a lot and you know what they're thinking and what they're feeling. No?
Yeah.
Nelson Asaito, no? Again, very talented, but you know, sometimes if you're very talented, it can work against you. No, it can work against you. You feel you're so good that you don't need other people. No? So, sino pa ba?
Bo? No?
Bo, no. Bo is very smart.
Oh, okay.
But he's just, he has this personality where he feels he has to assert himself. No? But it's not being uncoachable.
Yeah.
So, yun lang.
This one is from a question from social media. Name a player that you have always wanted in your roster but never had the chance to acquire. Actually, a good question.
Presently or even before?
Let's look at all of it.
All of it? I've never, historically, you know, I was coaching and Mon Fernandez was still playing. And Mon Fernandez just made the game so much easier. And he was not part of any of my teams. I was a very young coach then. And I felt that, the best help that a young coach can get is to have a player like Mon Fernandez in his team. No? So I think he's that guy. No? He's very smart. He was a 4-time MVP, and he can carry his team on his shoulders and just be able to navigate through a game. No? Another person probably, is Junmar. No,
Junmar is everyone's
Yeah.
dream.
Junmar, you have no problems at the post.
Yeah.
He's very smart. He knows how to use his height, his body. He knows how to use his teammates. You can't make him pick on.
Yeah, true.
He's so stable.
So calm.
So calm. So I think those are some of the guys. No?
Any more?
I can't recall anybody else right now.
Okay, one last question from social media before I go to the last part. Your plans for this upcoming draft?
We are already surveying the landscape, so to speak. We have a good chance of probably drafting in the top 3, probably in the top 2. So one thing we need to do is know who's available and who's going to make themselves available for the draft. I'm hoping Kiefer Ravena makes himself available, or Ray Parks. I know Jeron is going to be there, no? So at least you have 3 excellent choices. We're trying to scout who the unknown factors are going to be. Maybe there's going to be some Phil Amps we haven't seen yet, no? So we're looking at all of this early. Knowing that we've been last placers the last 2 conferences. No? But of course, our best consolation for the finishes that we've had would be to draft early. And you don't want to waste that by making that mistake during the draft time. No? So we're working on that early. But the more important thing to me, I think, is that these talents, that I mentioned, they should make themselves available for us to be able to make the most out of that draft.
Be able to draft them.
Sometimes it's not totally within our control.
Yeah. So, okay, last part of our Rappler Talk. Let's talk about the hottest basketball topic at this point in time,
Yeah.
the NBA Finals.
Okay.
Obviously, you already know what I'm going to ask.
Yes.
So, okay, who do you got, predictions, and how many games?
I think it's going to be Golden State in 6 games. Basically for 2 factors. One thing is Kevin Durant, who was not in the team last year but is in this team now. I think he provides a lot of depth to the team. He was struggling early when he first joined Golden State. I thought that, the chemistry is not right. No? But after mid-season and towards the end of the season, they just were able to
They
gel together almost perfectly. And that was one thing they did not have last year. I think that's one reason also that they lost the championship to the Cavs last year. The other thing is, I think that Golden State is the smarter team. Not only because they have a deeper rotation, but I feel that Steph Curry is not just a good shooter, he's a very smart player. Draymond Green is a very smart player and he can get into your head. Klay Thompson is a smart player.
Those on a slump right now.
Yes, but still smart. Sean Livingston, very smart.
Very true.
So I think I always felt and I always believed that the smarter teams always win against the less smarter teams. Of course, there's LeBron on the other side. There's Kyrie Irving on the other side. There's Kevin Love on the other side. But if you bring them all together, Golden State is just playing smarter basketball than the Cavs.
So you're willing to bet against LeBron?
Ah, yeah. I've done that before.
Okay, which NBA coach do you look up to or you feel similar to you?
Popovich. Of course, you have to appreciate and admire what Kerr has done for Golden State, making them the best team probably in NBA history, except for the Celtics before.
Yeah.
Popovich. I also like Phil Jackson, but I'm not a fan of the triangle offense.
Yeah.
I'm just a fan of his philosophy. So, yun lang.
He likes yoga, di ba po?
Yeah,
He likes the Zen.
the Zen thing, yes.
Yeah. So one last question to just kind of wrap it all up, all our discussion this morning. How would you like your players to remember you after they've retired or moved on to other teams?
Well, just somebody who made them better. Somebody who put some character into their game, into their lives. Just another person they can rely on.
Yeah.
So, yun lang.
Okay. Thank you, Coach, for
Sige.
joining us this
Thank
morning
you
in the
also for the
newsroom.
invitation. Yeah.
Always an insightful conversation
Yes.
with you. Wishing NLEX the best of luck next
Thank you.
conference.
Thank you.
Okay. So we've been speaking with Coach Yeng Guiao of the NLEX Road Warriors. You can watch them again in a couple of months in the Governor's Cup. But for now, you can follow coverage of the PBA and the upcoming Commissioner's Cup playoffs by logging on to rappler.com/sports. And then you can also follow us on Twitter. That's @RapplerSports. This has been Jane Brasher. Thank you for joining us.